I'm not gonna do a big intro, this is just a regular Minecraft Let's Play. Kind of. Let's get started. Oh, also, subscribe. I spawned in a really beautiful snowy taiga next to an iceberg, and I immediately decided to delete the world and start again. I play in a world with some friends, and that's in a snowy taiga, so I'd like a different environment for this world. In this new world, I spawned in a birch forest near some gravelly hills and a giant cave. I mined my first tree, got some stone tools, you know, it's a Minecraft world. After collecting some coal, I crafted a handful of torches, and took my first stupidly risky jump. At one point I took a few hits from a zombie as a result of a lag spike, but I wasn't in any real danger. Though I got attacked by a skeleton after that, which put me on half a heart. So I surfaced to smoke some meats to get my hunger up, and took 3 pork chops as well as some health and hunger in my bars, and got back into the cave. I lit up a decent area within the cave and found this zombie spawner. Realistically, I was planning to make a home elsewhere, and by the time I would be able to regularly go from home to here, I would probably have a better farm elsewhere, so there's no real reason to keep it. Anyway, really all the top level of this cave yielded was some coal and a little bit of iron, though I did use that iron to craft a shield. At one point I found this deep cave, and oh my god, that is an ancient city. At this point I realized if I go down there, I will most likely die and lose this great spawn. And so, I'll let you guess what I did. Yeah, I did actually do some preparation, mainly just getting iron armor and some schmeat. Anyway, I touched down in the city and broke this shrieker. Breaking shriekers is always a gamble on whether or not there's another one nearby, but in my case, there wasn't. This pit next to where I entered had some disc fragments, amethyst shards, and protection 3 diamond leggings. Nothing crazy, but all of these are nice to have. I broke another shrieker next to this chest and got the ward armor trim, which is not the good one you get from the ancient cities. I also found 3 diamonds in the wall, not even in a chest. I took a brief break after that to mine up some wool from the pathway so that I could block off shriekers, or tower up in an emergency. This next chest had Swift Sneak 2 and a regen potion, both of which are basically worthless. This next chest had 2 enchanted books, Efficiency 5 and Swift Sneak 3, both of which are very useful. And in this one I found an enchanted golden apple, which is good, but I kind of expect to have more by now. Here I broke 2 shriekers in one area using wool to separate them so I don't die. Unfortunately, the chest they were guarding was shit. I basically did the same thing with this next structure, and the chests were even worse. While searching this chest, a cave spider came from the mineshaft above and landed on me. And worse, the next chest I looted triggered a shrieker. I do have a bit of leeway with the shriekers. You can set off 3 without spawning the warden. I then saw this chest with 5 shriekers surrounding it, so I got to mining wool. Though the first shrieker I broke immediately triggered the other ones, so I just looted the chest and got out of there. Then, before I had even looted one more chest, I stepped on this pressure plate and triggered another shrieker, meaning the next time I trigger a shrieker, the world will explode. Then I took a little bit of fall damage while planning how to loot this chest, which triggered the warden. Actually, as long as you run pretty fast, you can pretty easily avoid the warden, and that's exactly what I did. I just ran back the way I came out. I'm not sure why I decided to travel at night. I mean, I didn't die or anything, but it was an unnecessary risk. In this clip, you are going to see me realizing that I am the luckiest person on the planet. Yeah, I got an ancient city directly under my spawn and a woodland mansion a few hundred blocks away. And no, I'm not showing you the seed because I hate you. I climbed the hill behind the mansion and finally slept. I spent quite a while just scoping out the place, and no, I'm not conquering this whole place today. I'm hoping to get a totem and be in and out. I raided this one room, which only really had a golden apple in the way of good loot. I also had a little accident here, don't make fun of me. I was actually out here because I was crafting arrows. The best way to get a totem from a woodland mansion without raiding it the normal way is to just shoot one of the evokers through a window. I didn't have string, though, so I just ran around trying to find spiders for about a night, and ended up getting enough string to craft a bow by morning. I cleared out the dirt and the tree in front of this window, and only ended up killing a zombie. I ran back to the window to expand my hole, and the evoker expelled some little white creatures. Alright, I'm kinda reaching here, though I could reach a little deeper. I was one hit from the Vex for about 3 seconds after they broke my shield, which did not matter in the long term, because after killing the Vex, I ran back to the hole and collected my Totem of Undying. I immediately ran like my life depended on it. I'm not spending another second in that place. After this, I was just running around finding a place to live, mostly through the jungle. Though at one point, I found a Badlands biome. Yeah, those are Christmas chests. This video took like 4 months. It was not worth it. I ran ahead into the deserts and had a great idea for a base. I didn't end up doing the idea, and I'm not going to do the idea, and I'm not going to tell you what the idea was, but it was a great idea. I found this village with a desert temple nearby, and I liked the temple, but it wasn't exactly to my liking for a long-term base. I explored the desert temple, and there were 5 creepers inside. I managed to expertly maneuver around them and loot the temple, and there was fuck all in it. I took the village's food and the camel, and rode off. I found another good village for a home, but I didn't like that you can see the mangrove swamp from it. I crossed back through the Badlands briefly and found a Looting 3 book, and that was about all I found. There was also a ruined portal in sight, and it had next to nothing in it, but it would prove to be a good landmark in the future. On the other side of that hill was this little valley with a lava pool right next to a village on a river with plenty of nearby caves, including one very big cave near the Badlands, and this is where I'm building my home. The only disadvantage is that you need to climb the hill to get any wood, but once I have an elytra, it shouldn't be a big deal. I cleared out a bit of flat land and placed a chest, making this hilltop my home, and I then collected a little bit of iron and wood, and ended my first session. I returned and immediately started mining dirt, which is actually a decently valuable resource out here. Also red terracotta, I need it for a thing. I wanted to build a house, but I realized I'd probably be best off using deep slate for a frame, so everything I'm building will be coming down sooner or later. I settled on this shape. The little nub with the chest will be baby's first storage room, and the nub on the right will be a staircase. I planted myself some trees and was already running out of storage, though that won't be an issue for roughly 7 more minutes. After that, I used the 13 iron I had found on my adventures to craft 4 pickaxes. Yeah, even though there's a village right there, I want to mine for my diamond armor. I find villager trades really boring, though trust me, I'll be doing plenty of those soon enough. I got a double chest on top of my single chest from before, and after that I needed more wood for more ladders so I could mine. So I harvested a bit of it and decided to kill skeletons for bones so I could make bone meal, so I could go trees, so I could get wood, so I could get ladders, so I could go mining, so I could get diamonds, so I could minimize my risk of death. At one point I descended into this cave and man, the theme of this world is really unnecessary risk. Also, occasionally I would get these random lag spikes in my recording. It only happens in my first few recordings. I don't know why. Anyhow, I crafted my ladders and dug my hole. Straight down, because I think being unsafe and endangering yourself and others is a really attractive trait to have. I did actually start digging down the safe way though, so I'm not hot anymore. I found some redstone and iron on the way down, but nothing crazy. After hauling out a little room and placing some ladders, I went back up. I promise I will actually start mining at some point, I just need a little more wood. Also, I was on 2.5 hearts, but that's not remotely special at this point. I then paused my recording, and when I unpaused it, I was in a cave with 2 more diamonds and 2 fewer stacks of torches. Oh, by the way, I used my ancient city diamonds to craft a diamond pickaxe. Once again, by this point in my caving, I should have replaced my sword, gotten more torches, gotten more food, a lot of things. But I was playing risky, and I am currently alive, so that means it's working. Here I got attacked by a skeleton with a power bow and a creeper, leaving me on 1 heart and narrowly avoiding popping my totem. Yeah, I do have the totem, but I can't really afford to lose it this early. Preferably I want to fight the dragon or my first raid or something with this, not lose it to a skeleton. Also, this actually did result in me having to eat my last piece of bread. I was conveniently close to the surface though, so I just ran up there. I needed food, which was in limited supply at both the village and my storage, so I decided to go on an adventure. On my adventure, I found a nearby plains biome with plenty of pigs, and in this little bit of desert, I found a 6-block tall cactus. These occur when 2 or more cacti spawn on top of each other, and they're very rare. This was another decent landmark in all of my future travels. I was killing these cows when my sword broke, which is inconvenient, but I do have a solution. I found a village with 38 hay bales, which will come in very useful. I then had to leave, and in my next section, I have a default skin. It happens sometimes. I then crossed into a jungle at night, and on a whim, crafted myself a diamond sword. I still had the diamonds from earlier. And this was totally preventable, but still infuriating. I jumped off of this hill into a river and got hit by a trident, and I scrambled, got hit again, and after that... yeah, so there goes my free pass. I can't be too mad though. I could have had my golden apples available, I could have had a shield to swap to, I could have not traveled at night, and as a result not been rushed, and as a result not taken the shortcut through the river. I think this one's on me. I slept in the village whose food stocks I stole. Yeah, I took a pretty meandering path and ended up only like 100 blocks away from it. And then I ran home defeated. Even though I guess I did get a lot of food and some leather, which will be handy for enchanting, and a lot of sugarcane, which is always nice. Oh, and it's not Christmas anymore, by the way. I actually decided to build the enchanting table now because I realized I already had 26 books from fucking whatever. And yeah, Now I really should not be out at night. It would really suck to die trying to get wood for bookshelves when I have this really promising world. I then crafted my enchanting setup, and the pick and the sword both had nothing promising, and I literally can't enchant my diamond leggings. They have Curse of Vanishing, which you can't remove, and it counts as an enchant, and you can't enchant something that's already enchanted. I then spent a while just doing chores, upgrading storage, setting up a furnace, boring stuff. By the way, that cave I was in before was connected directly to the surface. I haven't even strip mined once. I then started stripping on my deep slate mine until I found an open cave with absolutely nothing. Alright guys, let's do some mining commentary. I found some redstone, and then I found some iron, and then I found some more redstone, and then I found some gold, and then I found some more redstone, and then I started stripping it again, and then I found another cave, and then I found some gold, and then I found 4 creepers! Anyway, let's get back to anything remotely worth viewing. I then found another useless zombie spawner with nothing good in the chest, but I didn't break it, even though it could have been some good XP. I went up to the top of the cave and mined some coal for torches before returning to the deep. In the caves, I found a mineshaft tunnel, which is usually pretty good for diamonds. I immediately took a cave spider bite and nearly died, and I also found a name tag, which is kind of cool, but since I recorded this a while ago, I can say, by the time I needed a name tag in this world, I believe I had collected 17 of them. While exploring this mineshaft, I just used torches to mark where I'd been, which is a much better idea when you have a surplus of torches, which I sure as fuck don't. I still didn't really have any good loot when I left the cave, so it didn't amount to much more than a waste of torches. Also, I came across this huge cave right as I ran out of torches, so I just found a little nook to hide in and dig up into the surface. I bumped into a cave on the mine up and found 2 diamonds, which is nice. I mean, I would like a few more, but it's fine. This gave me the courage to continue mining, which I knew was probably a mistake, but after finding another diamond, there was no way I was going to stop now. I love greed. After 2 more diamonds, I did actually start going up, and my last pickaxe broke. Luckily, I was pretty close to the surface, so it was only a few minutes to dig up by hand. Back on the surface, I stored my mining loot, and I just took the Unbreaking 3 enchantment on my diamond pick, and I got Fortune 3 and Efficiency 4. Holy fuck. I also crafted diamond boots and a shield, which I should have done hours ago. I cooked up all the beef I got on that food journey earlier, crafted some golden apples, regular chores around the base. I also took this Punch 1 bow enchant, sort of gambling on it having something like Power 4 or even just Unbreaking, and it got nothing. I guess my luck might have run out. I then replaced the little red terracotta outline of my base with deep slate bricks. I intended to do this back when I first mentioned it, but I just didn't have any deep slate. Also, I crafted 9 iron pickaxes, so I've got to mine quite a lot to use these up. I went back into the cave to get more torches to prepare for the big mine, and I wasn't really paying attention to my health, and didn't realize I was missing 3.5 hearts. Yeah, that's like my 7th close call. 1 arrow from a skeleton and I would have been done for. I went straight into the mines after this. I want to get mining phase of this world done as fast as possible. Also, there was a lot of iron here, which feels great to mine with fortune. I actually got an obscene amount of iron here, but more importantly, I found a fossil, and nearly died, but that's par for the course. These fossils are stacked with diamonds, like sometimes an insane amount of diamonds out of each of these. Out of this one, I got 34, which basically has me set for the early game. I headed straight for the surface through this water cave. I'm trying to minimize my time in the mines right now. Finding that fossil and all of those diamonds sort of marked a turning point in this world, where I was no longer fighting to survive, but instead fighting for progress, which is always nice. Honestly, I would have been fine with half of those diamonds. I already had half a set of diamond armor, but after crafting myself some armor, I combined and enchanted my bow, which got Punch 1, Power 4, and Unbreaking 3. This begins the enchantment grind of this world, which is a long and tedious process. I had a few ideas for how I could grind for levels, and the first and most popular is mining nether quartz. Also, I need a bit of quartz for my base. I will probably get more specific enchants from the villagers if I can't get them from the table, but for now, I'm just using the table. My nether spawn was fine. It's a small system of nether caves, there's not much in it, and it's pretty far from open nether, but at least it's not a particularly dangerous spawn. I got to level 30 and returned, but the cave was mostly empty by this point. I'll have to start tunneling if I want more quartz. Before even using the levels I had gathered, I scoured my chests for any lapis, books, enchanted items I could use for XP at a grindstone, anything I can use for enchanting. Also, I crafted any diamond tools I didn't already have. This round of enchanting showed absolutely nothing good, even after a reroll, and so I just went back to the nether needing only half a level. Yeah, not a big deal. I kinda exaggerated how little quartz was left in this cave anyway, so I could get it all from here. This time I got sharpness 4 and unbreaking 3 on my sword, which is pretty good. I also crafted an anvil, which I didn't have before. Back in the nether, I got very lucky. If I had stopped even half a second later, I would have fallen in that lava and died. I dropped down into the Crimson Forest again. Just tunneling in a different direction would have been easier than going into one of the most dangerous nether biomes just for XP. But you know the theme of this world. Luckily, I did avoid most of the real danger in the Crimson Forest, but I did spot a treasure bastion, which is very good. Also, I raided it the wrong way. Never raid them like this. I don't know the correct way, but it's not this. The bottom of the bastion is the real good loot, though, so I'll just cut to that. The only good thing I got up top was a netherite upgrade template. I kind of just lowered myself down the wall. In most of my gameplay, I maxed out armor, so I can just drop down to the center, collect the treasure, and fly out with my elytra. The treasure down there was some diamond gear, 20 blocks of gold, and another upgrade template, which is hardly worth my time. By the way, 20 cubic meters of gold weighs 850,960 pounds. A full inventory of gold would weigh 100,765,664 pounds. And an inventory full of shulker boxes full of gold weighs 2,656,412,982 pounds. Or 1,284,930 tons. The equivalent of nearly 4 Empire State Buildings. Anyway, I left the bastion and also got 30 levels. I returned to the Crimson Forest on the other side of my tunnel exit, and got to half health fighting some hoglins. I got back to the overworld with 31 levels, and took an enchant for Sweeping Edge, which came with Unbreaking 3, which I already have, and Smite 4, which sucks. The only combination I could make which wouldn't remove my sharpness was 21 levels, which would probably render the sword unable to get all enchants. After killing some mobs outside, grinding off the smite sword, and grinding off some other random things I had lying around, I was back at level 30 without having to mine any nether quartz, so I took an enchant on my boots for Unbreaking 3 and got Unbreaking 3. This next nether trip was just uneventful tunneling, and I got Prot 4 on my boots, which is okay, though I was hoping to get Unbreaking or Feather Falling with it. Back in the nether, I dug into another cave, which led to some Crimson Forest, in which I got to level 30. I realize individually describing each enchantment run is going to get real boring real quick. Good thing I'm doing something interesting after I return home and get Protection 4 on my helmet. Again, no unbreaking, no respiration, just Prot 4. After this, I use all of my XP quartz to make this pattern on the floor of my house. Though it needs a darker block to contrast, and I have an original idea for a block I've not built with once in this world. It's deep slate. The floor is polished deep slate. I could throw a roof over this and be fine, but I'm going to spring it for 2 floors, and I have an idea for how to do that. I'm hoping the yellow terracotta will add more of a distinct feeling to the second floor, while not being too different from the red terracotta. And also I'm going to try to incorporate some orange to complete the color, whatever it's called when you have 3 matching colors that are kind of similar. Also, I actually placed torches before my house was just totally dark. Also, I didn't know if I wanted to do a spiral staircase or a ladder here or what. And I settled on this, which isn't great, but hopefully it'll work as long as I'm using this as a starter base. And yeah, this is a starter, I'm not going to live here forever. I do intend to make my home base in this area though, so I'll probably convert this into whatever I feel like later. I wasn't sure how to distinguish between the walkway and just the extra hall space here, and I decided to just make part of the walkway 3 blocks wide and part of it 2 blocks wide, assuming it would infuriate me, but it's better than having an ugly ceiling. And between doing it and writing this script, I have not thought about it once. Alright, now both floors are done, so let's get the roof done. Because it scares me. Not because I could fall and die, I could easily survive that fall, but because I'm not a mathematician who can figure out how to make this stupid shape and put a roof on it that doesn't look like garbage. Also, I realized if I make a normal roof made out of stairs, the roof has a lot of empty space here. I can put something there though. This is enough roof that I could plausibly build an attic. On top of the process of designing the roof being miserable, it was also difficult to get up to the roof in the first place. So if I ever fall or go down to get a view, I have to get up, which is just an inconvenience. I realize I could be boring and just build a flat roof, but I do at least consider it worth the effort since I'll be looking at this for a few hundred days at least. Also, I want to build part of the roof out of quartz, but I realize that I may have overestimated how much quartz I actually got. While running to the village for whatever the hell, I saw a pillager patrol, and you know the motto, I'm doing a raid. I ran to town, got my enchanted apple ready, because for as much as I'm embracing my overconfidence, I'm not that stupid. And I also locked a few villagers in their houses, so that no matter how many villagers die today, I will have a future with this village. I got attacked by a Vindicator here, which is good because it lets me know that they do 2.5 hearts a hit with my current armor. Also, at the start of the second wave, my shield was not doing well, so I ran home to grab another one. A power 4 bow will give you basically all of the firepower you need. I wouldn't recommend using your sword in a raid at this point, and here's why. After vanquishing the second wave using my bow, I got in close combat with a Vindicator, and an Iron Golem got in my way. Yeah, I'm fairly certain if the Iron Golem got off a second hit, I would have been dead. I killed a Ravager, I had some trouble finding the last two raiders, and at one point, I fell in a cave with a Vindicator. Yeah, that wasn't that bad, but I could have easily seen myself fumbling and dying there. Wave 4 was boring, Wave 5 sees the first Evoker, this one will be fun. Here was my grand fight with it. Yeah, if you're just like 15 blocks from an Evoker, they don't even spawn Vex. It's very easy to kill them. So with 3 raiders remaining, I equipped my new totem, and now I can finally be grossly incompetent again. In the next wave, I was just taking pot shots from across the village, and the Evoker did actually get some Vex off. For whatever reason, half health in a raid felt way more intense than that Hoglin battle when I was mining nether quartz, even though I was at the same health and now I have a totem. Here I realized that I may have underestimated the power of the raiders when I got down to 4 hearts from a good combo. Again, way more stressful than normal. Here I got hit twice by a Vindicator, and even this was one of those moments that are very common and very well done in raids, where you feel that one wrong move will get you killed, and your opportunity to save yourself narrows every second you spend getting attacked instead of fleeing. Anyway, I had actually defeated the raid now, and so it was time to go right back to enchanting. I got efficiency on my axe, and I have no idea why I didn't take this looting 3 enchant. That's pretty valuable. Anyway, back to the cave and back to the table. I got efficiency 4 on my shovel and grinded it off. I don't know why I took so many shitty tool enchants early on when I could have just re-rolled and lost 1 level instead of 3 levels. Also, I got some mangrove and oak wood before happening upon the jungle I was wandering through right after my first experience with the woodland mansion. I chopped down a tree, and from these saplings I will grow my empire. I mean, not really. Sticks aren't really the best late-game trade when you can passively get iron with an iron farm, but they will be instrumental in the early game. And yes, this is still the early game. And also, yeah, I'm trading. My logic is that, well, it's slower for XP than just mining nether quartz, I can also work towards getting librarian enchants while doing it, and regardless of my preferred strategy, those are always useful. By the way, I rerolled my Fletcher trades because sticks and arrows are the best combo. Don't settle for anything else. You have like a 1 in 3 chance of getting the best trade on any reroll. Just take it. I pretty quickly got level 30 from the Fletchers. It's not really chopping wood that's the issue with Fletchers, it's the trade limit. A Fletcher will only give you so many trades a day, and their prices go up if you constantly sell them out. Also, I made a set of iron armor to check enchants on, and killed a man in cold blood. With this, I can check enchants for leggings, so I know when to craft a new set of diamond leggings because these have Curse of Vanishing. Also, yeah, I did actually get around to using those levels, and I was still feeling lucky on a tool enchant for some reason, and it paid off. Efficiency 4 and Unbreaking 3, and Silk Touch on a shovel. I'd rather an axe, but it's still pretty good. Also, I did this bucket clutch, which I was not confident enough to do before. I actually got straight to trying to get mending, and got it in around 10 minutes for 16 emeralds. Not bad. Also, I got this Feather Falling 4 enchant, 2nd level, weirdly, so I could get it even though I had 28 levels. I didn't realize this though, so I traded 6 for level 30. And after taking Feather Falling 4 with Unbreaking 3, the cheapest and only combination option which was 17 levels, which is a bit pricey, but hopefully I'll still be able to max these boots out. A trip back home to sleep marked the end of this 3rd play session, which was 5 hours long. We're like 30% of the way through my footage, by the way. In my next session, I decided to get back to enchanting, though I still needed to finish my roof. Also, this time I had 9 levels, not 27, though I quickly stopped searching for XP, and started searching for nether fortresses and ender pearls. I eventually did find another fortress, but it was in a basalt delta, which, because of reasons, makes the fortress spawn fewer mobs. But I did also find one in the nether wastes a few hundred blocks away, so I collected 9 blaze rods from the spawner entirely safely, and ran over with my rods and 17 levels to keep farming XP, and hopefully get a few wither skeletons. I did also get some magma cream and nether wart, which will save me a terrible and long trip to the nether when I realize I need nether wart to brew potions, which I don't do that often, but when I do it, I really need to do it. By the time I had 20 levels, I had a stack of apples and 27 golden apples, and that was basically all of my food. So I can't stay out here too long. Also, I set my render distance to 2 chunks, which I think is supposed to make mobs spawn more or something, but I didn't notice a big difference, so I set it right back. And then the world stopped working, and I started furiously digging until I found another nether fortress. I don't know why. I didn't take notes about what I was thinking during this gameplay, and I'm writing this nearly 3 months later. Then in the other fortress, I set my render distance back to 2 chunks. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was still on 20 levels, though. After getting blaze rods, my only real goal was XP. Honestly, most of this was just running around, occasionally killing blazes or skeletons, and it was probably less efficient for XP than just mining nether quartz. Not to mention it's not great content, because I've been playing this game for like 2/3 of my life, and I know my way around a nether fortress. Here I fell off the fortress and landed at about half health, and this is more inconvenient than anything. I need to mine netherrack and bridge up every time I fall, though luckily I can refill on bridging blocks while I'm down here. For some reason, writing this part of the video, VLC player, which I use to watch back footage, kept improperly saving where I was in the video, and so sometimes I may get, like, which fortress I'm in totally wrong, and it'll be at the wrong time in the video. I'm just too lazy to actually fix it. Anyway, we're jumping ahead to me being in a fortress with 29 levels, 7 bread, and 25 golden apples. Also make that 5 bread because I had to eat some here. I found a bastion with lots of gold on the spire here. I've been to a bunch of these bastions, and there's rarely anything good inside, but this time there was a netherite upgrade, and I nearly died for it. A piglin brute attacked me and got me on 1 hit. I only got away because I dropped down to the shaft and managed to eat a golden apple, after which the piglin brute was pretty manageable. Why I kept going, I'll never know, but luckily there was no trouble after that. Here I was backed into lava by a hoglin and clambered out on 4 hearts. Though luckily I often forget how good golden apples are for saturation. By then I was around 2,500 blocks from my portal and realized nether exploring isn't even good for XP. There's quartz way closer, and I've been far too close to dying far too many times while out here. So it's probably for the best that I head home. Though that's easier said than done. I found a very easily raidable bastion and I still got to 4.5 hearts from it. Though I did get level 30, as well as a piece of ancient debris. By the way, at this point, I had been eating just golden apples for my sustenance for a while. After leaving the bastion, I stopped my recording, and when I restarted it, I was in the overworld and had just gotten the subspace bubble achievement. I figured it would be safer to get home through the overworld. I went back to the nether for about 7 seconds to ponder, and then realized 15,000 blocks in the overworld is still safer than 2,000 blocks in the nether. On the surface I was in an ice lake, but with plains and a village in view. I crafted a temporary iron helmet, and from the village I took some hay bales, and from the earth I took meat and a horse. I tamed several, but there was one obvious frontrunner, so I took him with me. I'm not going to give him a name, I'm about to abuse him a lot. While punching my newfangled horse across a river, I noticed a ruined portal, and it had fucking nothing. Then my horse fell down a hole. Luckily there was a convenient and somewhat horse-accessible exit. Also, this area looks kinda like my spawn, and like my spawn, there's a woodland mansion embedded in a mountain. The area being similar is a weird resemblance, but the mansion is like weirdly similar to my spawn. I did my really long distance evoker kill thing, and this time it worked. It really is easier if you can get on the roof of the mansion. Also, there were quite a lot of indicators here. I sure hope a Vex doesn't knock me off. There were no Vex. What did you expect? After triggering this evoker though, there were Vex, and they got me to 1.5 hearts. Here I was already on half health and my arrow went straight through this Vindicator because that just happens sometimes. Anyway, I've already killed the 2 evokers, so I'm just gonna hit the road again. Chances are I already have more totems than I would need in multiple years if I play this world regularly. I did stick around the mansion until morning, but by noon I was on horseback and homebound. Also, I really started missing the plains. Taking a horse through forests and swamps is unpleasant, to put it lightly. Luckily, there was a plains biome on the other side of the swamp. And unluckily, the best path forward was still through swamp and jungle. Jesus Christ. Anyway, a few thousand blocks later, I'm in a pretty similar spot to where I popped my first totem, and I killed a drowned and got a trident. Time doesn't matter. It's later now, and I'm riding a camel and leading my horse through the final stretch of desert to get home. Also, I forgot that my roof is still not finished. It will be, eventually. I stowed my loot, hitched my horse and camel, and realized that all of that was for 34 levels and a little bit of loot. Luckily though, I immediately got a Protection 4 and Unbreaking 3 helmet enchant. Also, I got Unbreaking 3 and Blast Protection on my chest plate. Gross. I needed to calm down, so I did some fishing. It's good for the soul. In reality, I wanted to use this as an XP method for a while. It's one of the least efficient methods I've found, but it's safe and calm, which is a lot better than fighting for my life in the nether. Honestly, by 28.5 levels I was bored, and villager trading is just as safe, so that's probably going to be my main method from now on. If I have a few Fletchers and I can speed up tree growth, then I can pretty easily get 30 levels in a couple of minutes. Let me just summarize the next 2 hours of enchanting. Trees, level 30, efficiency 4. Trees, level 30, unbreaking 3, good! Trees, level 30, protection 4, good! Rerolls, trees, caves, diamonds, dungeons, deep dark, mesa, mineshaft. Okay, let's roof. I know I didn't do that last enchantment, it's because caving is not good for XP, and I didn't want to mine Skulk because for a 50-day world, I've already worried about the Warden far more than I should have had to. I knew from the jump I wanted to make the roof out of deep slate tiles and quartz, but I didn't realize how much quartz I would need, and how hard it is to put a roof on something this shape. By the way, I was sort of low-key using that caving to collect deep slate, so I should have more than enough to build the roof. With most roofs I make, there's this sort of dead space between the top wall and the ridge of the roof that I mentioned earlier, so I did my best to try and make it not ugly, and it kinda worked. Also, there's this little funny pyramid for the storage nub. I figured I could save quartz by making that part out of deep slate, since it's a pretty resource-intensive nub. By the way, I made the upstairs of that area a staircase to the attic. Or I guess for now it's just a staircase to the roof. I decided to build this part of the roof out of slabs. By the way, I'm not sure how all of these parts of the roof will connect and become, you know, a roof, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I then decided to mine more quartz and got to level 31 while I was at it. I didn't mention it because I was going real fast, but I grinded off my Curse of Vanishing diamond leggings and got a regular unenchanted pair, and here I enchanted them and got protection 4. I may just be greedy, but I think I can do better. You know how I said turning each part of the roof into a roof would be complicated? Well, yeah, now I'm dealing with the complications, and the complications are expensive. Not in money, but in quartz, which is worth its weight in gold. I didn't actually run out of quartz, I had plenty, but it did not work with the slab-based part of the roof, and all of my quartz is already in the form of stairs, so I had to mine for more. Honestly, I probably chose quartz in part because it could get XP while getting resources for the roof, and honestly, I barely had enough quartz to get this part done. Though luckily that is the last part of the roof, so I don't need any more. And now that the roof is done, I can get back to making progress. It is a bit janky at certain angles, but I'm not going to be staring at it 24/7. Also, I went back to enchant my leggings and got Unbreaking 3 and Protection 4. When I dug a hole in my wall to make a window, I saw a creeper inside. I set some glass to smell and decided to do cactus green windows. Hopefully they'll stick out against the red and yellow walls. After adding a few of those, I decided to get mangrove wood for the door. Luckily, I built my home pretty close to a mangrove swamp. It looks decent, and it's close enough to the red of the terracotta that it matches instead of looking just wrong enough to be infuriating, though other opinions may differ. I bought some more experience from the Fletcher and got an Aqua Affinity helmet, which when combined with my current helmet is what the kids call good. After this, I sort of realized I have full protection 4 and efficiency on most of my tools, so I guess it's time to reroll for the last enchants I need. Mainly for the sword. Alright, since this is the worst, I'm gonna gloss over it a little. Protection 2, nothing, nothing. Curse of Vanishing, Power 5, nothing. Sharpness 3, nothing. Multi-shot, Punch 2, Efficiency 3, nothing. Luck of the Sea 3, Death Stratter 2, Loyalty 2, Feather Falling 1, Blast Protection 2, Lore 2, Projectile Protection 4, Expensive Mending, Efficiency 4, Fire Aspect 2, Knockback 2, nothing. Lore 3, Loyalty 2, nothing. Nothing. Riptide 1, nothing. Sweeping Edge 2, nothing. Protection 3, nothing. 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 Knockback 2, Sharpness 2, nothing. Curse of Vanishing, Sharpness 3, Fire Aspect 1, Respiration 3, nothing. 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 Projectile Protection 2, Efficiency 4, Blast Protection 2, nothing. Punch 2, Feather Falling 1, Multi-shot, Fire Protection 1, Knockback 2, nothing. 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 Quick Charge 3, and there's 12 Emerald Mending. I immediately bought 3. I already had mending on my chest plate, and frankly, I don't care to find the moment where I got it because that would literally take like a week. Chances are I found a mending book in a mine shaft or something and just totally forgot. So I got Swift Sneak and mending on my leggings, and mending on my boots before running out of levels. I know I already had a 16 Emerald Mending Librarian, by the way. I don't know where he went. While I was grinding for XP instead of books, I would get a lot of emeralds as a byproduct, and I spent most of them on golden carrots, so I had quite a lot of those now. Alright, I'm going exploring on my camel, so I'm probably going to be making an unwise decision. Nah, this was actually really uneventful. I'm quite strong now, and the whole point of this trip was just to kill horses and cows for leather, which is generally safe, especially if you do it during the day like I wasn't. I went to this plains village that's partly in a savanna. I've been here before, but for some reason I never covered up this lava, and it nearly killed my camel. Also, he doesn't eat wheat, which means I cannot heal him. Horses are just so much more convenient. Anyway, I went home without having found that many cows, but I did get just enough that I can make a lectern, and I can already buy bookshelves if I need more books. Here I got 18 emerald and breaking 3, that's nice. Though I didn't have many emeralds, so I just couldn't get it until the next day. Also, I did some calculations, and I only need 3 mending books to get a full set of mending on everything, and I just got my 3rd. I will actually need another mending book as well as an unbreaking book by the end of this video for something, you can really figure out what. I didn't actually make any of the other combinations yet, though. Instead, I spent 10 minutes trying to get on the server with my friends I mentioned at the start of the video, and forgot to end my recording. Then, back to the game, I was chopping wood, and my game audio wasn't recording for the entire 90-minute long recording. I immediately bought 7 bookshelves for a stack of emeralds, which is not worth it, but it's a little less effort than going to the plains to get cows. By this point, I had 4 spots to grow jungle trees, so it was really just alternating between those 4 spots, and I could get a pretty good flow of jungle trees going. But if that's not enough, I can always speed it up with some bone meal. Also, XP is still good, because I can get some of the enchants I need from regular enchanting. Honestly, this kind of thing is really boring to commentate, although I actually quite enjoy it as just a step in gameplay, so I'll let you know when something interesting happens. Here I found the camel that actually belongs to this desert village. He's been in this hole for a while. Here I had to breed the villagers by throwing bread at them. I needed another villager because I have spent all of my current ones. Here I bought Frostwalker 2 because one of my leveled up librarians sold it. I figured it's still worth having even if I'd prefer Depth Strider. After that, I was at level 30 and got jack shit before enchanting my boots, which are now perfect. Kind of. I'd still rather have Depth Strider, and they aren't netherite or anything. I then went caving for coal and iron and left with more coal and iron than I had before. Great success. After that, I got a Respiration 3 enchant, and the cheapest I could combine it with my current helmet would still cost 15 levels. And it was a tough decision, but I concluded that it would probably be fine, and only might pose a problem if I wanted thorns or something. But the only enchantment I'm gonna put on this helmet will be mending. Also, I got Unbreaking 3 on my bow, which makes this bow almost perfect. I still need power 5. And that was the end of my 7th gameplay session, which was on December 30th, 2023. My 8th session was on February 10th, 2024. So it's been a whole year. That's how time works. Initially, I wanted to beat the dragon on day 100 and have that be the end of the video, but after not playing for a month, I figured I should just get it done. Here I realized why I wasn't playing, and it's that I'm kind of getting bored of this grind, even though I said I did enjoy it, so I decided to go back to mining nether quartz, and here I fell in lava, and it lost a grand total of 2 hearts, though even if I had died, I wouldn't have been able to be too mad because that was totally my fault. The enchantment I got in the overworld was Sweeping Edge 3, but it came with Knockback 2. I like Knockback 1 because it knocks creepers back from exploding, but they're still within your reach, and if you prefer Knockback 2, you're wrong, so I didn't take it. My next enchant I paid for through villager trades and got Sweeping Edge again, this time with Sharpness 4, which means I'll have Sharpness 5, which is great. Honestly, I'd be fine stopping in here and finishing the sword when I have an Enderman farm, and can easily get some of the more specific enchants, but I want to be as geared as physically possible going into the Ender Dragon. Even if other aspects of Dragon Prep I totally disregard, such as slow falling, which I haven't brewed in like 3 real-life years. Once again, my next level 30 enchant was funded by Villager Blood, but this time I actually decided to re-roll books. But I wasn't actually checking all of my tools between rerolls, and naturally the game decided to punish me for this. A creeper blew up behind me, breaking 3 of my bookshelves and blowing up my armor stand. After recovering the 2 bookshelves on the side and my armor stand, I realized there was a 3rd bookshelf that got blown up, and I also filled in the hole the creeper had left. After replacing that last bookshelf, I started rerolling again and was still doing it wrong. I just really wanted Knockback 1. Fire Aspect would also be nice too. Anyway, I enchanted a ton of books and ran out of XP. Frankly, this part of progression is really dragging on, and I think I'm about ready for it to be done. I did more logging and more trading, and got back to level 27 through trading, and then put that Looting 3 book I got in the Badlands on my sword. And then I went back to the Nether Fortress. At this point, I didn't honestly know if I was going to take on the Wither by the end of this video, or if it would end with me getting the Elytra. The one thing I knew for sure was that I'm not going to end it with like a to be continued after killing the dragon, as I'm about to explore the Outer End Islands. Anyway, I left the fortress because I don't urgently need Wither Skulls, and decided instead to start grinding for Ender Eyes, because Looting 3 is goated, and I immediately got 17. It took like 5 minutes. Also, it's day 78 now. I don't know where the time went. Honestly, at this point, I realized I'm like 95% sure I'll survive any dragon fight, so I just went ahead and threw my first Eye of Ender and rode off. I was just following the Eyes of Ender the whole time, and I've already explored this land, but at one point I either got turned around or the eyes just started going in a different fucking direction, because I put my horse in a hole to dig down to the stronghold, and I was like 600 blocks away from the thing still. I was lucky I took a screenshot of the horse coordinates, because otherwise he would have been a bit hard to find, though it was quite close to a village I knew, so it wouldn't have been too hard. Basically, to put it briefly, I walked over to the ocean and dug like 4 blocks into the stronghold. I found a library room inside, and it definitely had books in it, but I was more excited about the bookshelves. Anyway, I found the stronghold and got viciously attacked by silverfish before digging myself a hole and screenshotting the coordinates for future use. I then cleared out my inventory and jumped into the end, getting a bit of lag as I teleported. I shot 3 of the obsidian towers without trouble, then missed a few times taking down the next 5, and that's all of the easy ones done. I took down the caged crystals through the corner, which I love doing, and then I just really took pot shots at the dragon. Here I realized my bow durability is a bit on the low side, and I really should have repaired it first. If it ran out of durability during the fight, that would have been quite inconvenient, but I didn't, so I was able to execute the beast and steal its child. I was on level 67 after this, and I don't care that it's not level 69 because that's not funny. I grabbed some balls and built a tower with which to reach the outer end island portal. And without even running out of the small supply of blocks I brought, I could see an end ship, which houses the Elytra. I hardly had any bridging to get to it, though I did tower straight up to it. On the top, I killed a shulker before entering the tower level, killing the shulker standing guard and looting the chest, which had fucking nothing, before gathering up my Elytra and going out to loot the remaining 2 chests in the end city, which had some nice gear, but nothing I don't already have. Ultimately, after the Elytra, the only thing I really cared about was the shulker shells. As soon as I had looted some of those, I towered up and flew right back to the end gateway, before observing the screen before the end poem for a second. I didn't actually read it, because no one does. In the overworld, I hopped on my previously stowed horse, and rode through town of Victor, before hitching my steed and storing my loot. I felt a bit lost at this point. I had a few ideas for a base in this area, but none of them stuck out, and I realized I would need to choose one and do it quite soon. Like, there's 2 more things on my to-do list for this video, and then I got some basic farms, and then I have to commit to an idea. Anyway, I crafted myself some fireworks, got Unbreaking 3 and Mending, and then I got a Knockback 1 enchant, meaning my sword can finally be cool and good. Here, while rerolling enchants, I accidentally grinded off a Mending book and my Knockback 1. Mending isn't a big deal, and I have a bunch of them, and I immediately got another Knockback 1 book. Also, I got Fire Aspect and combined that, making my sword perfect. Again, it's not netherite yet, but it will be perfect. Anyway, I stopped my recording while I was cutting logs, and my recording picks back up with me a few hundred blocks from home. I was out there searching for sugarcane, and also I did some side quests, the most interesting of which was a raid. I've already done one of these, and I've already raided like 1.1 woodland mansions. The first 2 waves were absolutely unremarkable. The third wasn't really notable either. I killed the Ravager with my bow, and the rest of the pillagers there were barely a challenge. Once the Evoker showed up, I had a decent angle on it, but it got some floor crocodiles off, and there was a Vindicator on me, so I fell back. I got under half health here, but so far there hasn't been a single time where I haven't had the situation under control. This whole raid has been pretty textbook, though with raids you always know it's getting serious when the subtitles are stretching up like 2/3 of the screen. And at times, this last wave was like that, though once the Ravager was dead, I was basically just chasing down the stragglers, and I killed the final Evoker for a 5 totem haul. I killed some creepers in the nearby area after that, before flying back home. That whole raid was really just a big distraction. I want to kill the Wither, but first I need to build out my infrastructure, including some sugarcane, which I barely got on my last trip. I placed some sugarcane along a nearby river, and then, as usual, ended my recording, and it picked up with me in a cave. I also found this pretty good diamond vein. I didn't check the haul, but it should be good. Also here, I got repeatedly pelted by skeletons, and when I finally escaped that situation, I needed to take a second to enjoy the beauty of silence. Also, I found 5 more diamonds. I don't even remember why I was in the mine shafts, probably something to do with fighting the Wither, or possibly mining resources for a beacon, but I'm going to build an iron farm pretty soon anyway. In fact, I know I'm going to build an iron farm because I've already recorded episode 2 and most of episode 3, and I built an iron farm in episode 2. I spent a little bit roaming the caves, only finding a slime chunk, which is basically useless, before finding another section of mineshaft and going straight to the surface. I still don't know what the point of that trip was. I then took some iron I had smelting and crafted an anvil, suggesting that the anvil broke at some point, but it was not on recording. I'm also still not sure why I was down there, considering I already had iron. Also, I actually put my lapis in the enchanting chest by the table and grinded off these books I was just re-rolling, before actually putting mending on my sword. Yeah, I forgot about that. Technically, it wasn't perfect this whole time. Then I dug very deep down in the nether. I'm getting netherite gear. That's the other thing on my to-do list. So here's a brief montage of me mining away in this Minecraft day. After emerging from the deep with 17 debris, I headed over to a nether fortress, as I do actually need wither skulls one of these days. So let's see. In this recording, I entered the nether fortress just shy of 15 minutes, got my first skull at an hour and 1 minute, and then look at this. Less than a minute later, I land at this blaze spawner and kill these guys. One drops its skull, the other picks it up, and then also drops his skull, giving me the 2 I need. I didn't actually realize at first and freaked out a bit when I did, because I wasn't sure if I had just missed getting one earlier, or if I actually just got that lucky. But I checked, and it definitely happened. I then returned home with some minor complications, and got myself 9 netherite upgrades, which is more than I can even afford to use. I had 4 netherite ingots, and so I decided to upgrade my sword, and all of my armor except my chestplate. Don't worry, that will get an upgrade in due time. I took a look at all of the trims I had, and decided that rib was my favorite for everything but the chestplate. For that, I preferred snout. So I got that in diamond. It'll look better once it's in netherite. Honestly, I didn't know what to do for this next recording session. I was starting on day 90, and it was close enough that I knew I could fight the wither on day 100, and I don't even usually prep that much for the wither. I'm pretty good at Minecraft, but I just need to kill 10 days, which is longer than you'd think. I mean, it's nearly 3.5 hours if you fully play out every day. I crafted a fuck ton of torches at the start, mainly because I want to do more caving, although maybe I'm just clinging on to the ever-fading early game. Yeah, I'm only just now leaving the early game. While I was going to cave, I first decided to finish getting netherite. I would need about, a lot. Honestly, all of that mining was about 30 minutes. It's still only day 91. Well, I guess 92. I've kind of been forgetting this whole time that the day count is 1 behind. So back at home, I converted that scrap into 6 netherite ingots, and upgraded all of my tools as well as my chestplate, leaving me with 1 extra ingot. I'll find a use for it eventually. Honestly, by this point, caving is strictly for fun. I don't need resources, and there's hardly ever any danger. The worst that can happen is a point-blank creeper blast, but even that with my chestplate on isn't even going to pop a totem. Some of this caving included lighting up areas of the cave near my base that have gone unlit for a very long time. Anything to keep the voices at bay while I wait for day 100 is good, even if in terms of torches it is rather expensive. I lit up a solid 80% of the surrounding cave system, and ended up in the middle of fucking nowhere in the Badlands, and I found this cool hill, which might be good for some kind of fortress later. I don't know, I stopped thinking about the future a long time ago. Here I found another fossil, which is real nice full circle narrative. One of those things carried me to diamond armor, and now I find another as I wait to fight the wither. This one wasn't quite as fruitful, and diamonds have lost some of their value. Although I haven't really mentioned that these things are, like, super rare. Like, I think I found 1 or 2 before this in my entire Minecraft experience, and now I found 2 in the first 100 days of a world. Back home, I realized the color of the diamonds on my armor trim were wrong, so I just changed it to rib. Snout would have been cool if it wasn't ugly on everything else, or if the colors matched. Here I was resetting a librarian, I believe for efficiency 5, and got 6 emerald silk touch before getting 64 entire emeralds for efficiency 5, and locking it in even though that's so fucking overpriced, oh my god. But yeah, I made this pickaxe with silk touch and efficiency 5, pretty nice. I then went bastion raiding, and man, at no point in this did I die or get any very good loot, and you just want to see me kill the Wither. I was trying to get Soul Speed 3, and I still don't have it by the time of writing, and I realized on day 99 I should probably head home or I might miss day 100. So I did that. I went home on the night of day 99, and I killed some creepers before sleeping with the villagers. Alright, it's day 100 now. I knew I wanted to fight the Wither out in the open, but I didn't know exactly where, so after making some fireworks, I flew out in search of a place I could do this battle, and I liked this little area. It seems easy to repair if I want to use this place for something later on, and easy to fight in so I don't die. I spawned the Wither, and he pelted me with Wither skulls from above before I briefly ran and fired the last few arrows, getting him down to half health. After that, it was very fast. For each slash I got off, he got off 2 or 3 skulls. I was quickly at half health myself, but he was much lower, and I have golden apples. And just seconds later, victory was mine. Then I kinda just flew back home and made the beacon. It's pretty cool. I've done what I came here to do now. I've built the beacon, I got the beacon achievement. What am I missing? Clearly nothing, because I just ended my 11th session here. Oh wait, I gotta take cool pictures! Just a few thumbnail pictures, nothing crazy. I did turn on acid shaders at one point. They fuck with the clouds, but they look pretty cool. Anyway, I headed to this nice little hilltop to watch the sunset on day 100. I really enjoyed making this video, and I'd like to talk about the future of this world. Basically, I want to do videos sorta like this, but with some regular recordings in between. The problem with doing regular recordings all of the time is that I'd only be able to record like an hour a day, so this is a nice balance between the more high-effort written content, the regular Let's Play content, and the montages, which I plan to do more of going forward. I will say, I've already recorded episode 2, and by the time this video is out, I will have already recorded episode 3 in this format. So I'm going to start integrating the recorded format into episode 4. That'll probably be out either July or August, though my word on far-out video releases is always a little questionable. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. I've been Malady, and thank you for watching.